Welcome to my channel. I thank you for watching. Now let's make some candy grapes. So let's go over the ingredients for the candy grapes. Now I am going to give you 3 recipes. They're going to be in the description box, so just check that out. One recipe is for a small, really tiny batch, and that's the one I'm going to be doing now. And then I'll give you 2 other recipes that are for like a little bit more grapes and one for a lot of grapes. So the first thing you are going to need, of course, grapes. I like to use the green grapes. You don't have to use green. You can use the red grapes if you want, but me personally, I go with green grapes. So I just picked these up from the grocery store. I have some water back here in this bowl, some light corn syrup. I have some granulated sugar, vanilla, and here is a bottle of watermelon flavoring. You can use a flavoring if you want to, but you do not have to. You can just use a vanilla only. I have some Blue Wilton food coloring. This is the gel colors. There is some white food coloring. Any kind of white food coloring that you have. If you don't want your candy to be a certain color, then you can just go ahead and dip them in clear candy, meaning you will not use the white, you will not use the blue. But if you absolutely want a certain color, you want your colors to pop, you are gonna have to make sure you use the white and make sure you use the colored food coloring. The next thing that I have is I'm going to be making Jolly Rancher flavored candy grapes. I'm also going to be making some Warhead flavored. If you do not want the Warhead, you can use whatever you want, like the Fun Dip. You don't have to use any candy at all. So if you want to make your own sour flavoring, and then that way you can control how sour it is, you can always just purchase some citric acid from Amazon, and then you will just mix that citric acid with a little sanding sugar. This is just red Betty Crocker sugar. It's just colored red. And then you will just pour some of this in a cup or a bowl, and then you will add a little bit of the citric acid to that. So that's another option. You can put nerds on here. Just do whatever you want. So that's it for the ingredients right here as far as food. Now we're going to go over the supplies. You are going to need a blender. And that's my Ninja blender. If you are going to be using like the hard candy, you need to use a blender, and just make sure that your blender is dry. If your blender is not completely dry, your candy is going to stick, and then that will just cause another problem. So just let your blender dry out completely before you chop up this candy. The next thing you're going to need are the sticks. Now for me, I like to use these long sticks. I got these sticks from the Dollar Tree. You don't have to use those long sticks. You can purchase you some regular old toothpicks. Toothpicks are fine. I would suggest, if this is like your first time, you should get toothpicks that are at least 6 inches long. That way that will give you some room to stay away from that heat. And the reason why I use these long sticks is I was in the fire, so I really don't like to get too close to that heat. So even though I do make candy apples and stuff, and I know everything is hot, I still try my best to stay away from getting burned again. So the next thing besides the sticks, you are going to need a spatula. That's my spatula there. Candy thermometer. You can purchase this candy thermometer at Walmart. They have different kinds, or you can purchase this on Amazon. This one in particular, I ordered from Amazon, but I actually seen it at Walmart. So this is the candy thermometer, the same one you're using for your candy apples. And then you are going to need just any kind of pot to cook it in. It doesn't have to be any special pots. And then you are going to need something to place the grapes on when you dip them. So here I have a silicone baking mat. If you don't have one, that's fine. You can just use some parchment paper. I would suggest spray your parchment paper down with a little bit of cooking spray, but you do not have to do that either, okay? Do whatever you feel comfortable doing. This is what I always tell you guys. So the first thing you are going to do is you're going to take your grapes and just take each one off of the vine. Put it into your bowl and just don't use the ones that are broken, like the ones that might have a slit in them. Just check your grapes and make sure you don't get any of those, any slimy ones. And you are going to clean your grapes the same way you've been cleaning your grapes for years. You're just going to run them under some water. If you have some veggie wash, you can just use that veggie wash. Whatever way you've been cleaning your grapes, just keep doing it like that. So once you rinse these grapes out, you are going to use either like a colander or a strainer to just flush out all of that dirt that are on the grapes, and then leave your grapes sitting. You're going to pour your grapes onto a plate lined with paper towels. You're going to need something that will help you drain all of that water out, because the object is to get all the water off, as much water as possible. So at least let your grapes sit for 2 hours before you start. And I know you might think that's a lot of time, so maybe you can go 1 hour even. Just don't start dipping your grapes immediately. Please don't. You don't want to have cold grapes. Don't dip your grapes straight out the fridge. Don't dip your grapes straight from being washed. Let them dry and let them become room temperature so that the candy will stick, and also you will have less juices dripping out after you make them if it's not so cold and so wet. Okay, so let's say these have been sitting out for 2 hours. So now we are going to put the sticks onto the grapes. So, of course, it's pretty simple. Just take your stick. Place your stick into the side that's smooth. You'll see that little tiny dot. Now you are going to chop up your candy. I am going to chop up the Jolly Ranchers first. So I just got a couple of mixed flavors here. I'm going to go right into the blender and just chop them up whatever way you like to chop them up. There is no wrong or right way. Some people like them very fine, almost like a powder, and some people like them to have little bits showing. So just do it whichever way you prefer it to be. And again, like I said, make sure your blender is not wet at all. We're going to give it a couple pulses. And then I'm going to check it. So right now it's looking like that. I'm going to put them back in and do a couple more. I don't like mine finely diced up. I like mine kind of sort of like this. It looks so pretty to me. So I'm going to be leaving mine like that. And then of course at the bottom you are going to have a lot of more finer shredded. Jolly Ranchers done. Let's get these warheads. So here is the warheads all done. I got some green, blue, and yellow in here. I'm just gonna dump this right into the bowl. So the candy is all finished, and I also have 2 packs of some Colossal Sour warheads that I had. So I'm going to be, whatever leftover grapes I'll use this for. But I only had 2 packs, so I just went ahead and crushed it up using my mallet inside the package. Now let's get started making this candy. This recipe right here is only going to give you about 35 grapes. So if you want to make way more than 35, you're going to use the second recipe that I posted in the description box. And if you want to make about 80 or 90, you are going to want to use like 90 to 100. You're going to use the third recipe in the description box. So first thing you are going to put in is 1/2 cup of sugar. Just dump that right in there. This pot didn't have anything in it, so just the sugar. And then 1/4 cup of corn syrup. And 1/4 cup of water. So you're going to start that. I normally like to start mine on medium, and I have an electric stove. So medium for me is about 7. Between 7 and 8. I'll go 8 just to speed it up a little more. So once you add those 3 ingredients, you just want to mix it really fast. It doesn't have to be fully mixed together. Just give it a couple of stirs. It'll mix itself once the bubbles start going. Now for me, I normally don't add my thermometer right now. I add my thermometer once I hear the bubbles slowing down a little. But if this is your first time, I do suggest you add the thermometer right away, just so that you'll be able to keep a better eye on it and make sure you don't go over the temperature, which is 285 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's what you're going for. So you hear those bubbles? That's the fast bubbles. That's not what you're listening for. You're listening for the slower bubbles. So when they're popping so quick like that, that means it definitely is not ready yet. Now you hear the bubbles, they are slowing down, and right now we are at about 210 degrees Fahrenheit. And like I said, we're going for 285. You notice how slow those bubbles are, and that's how you know we are at 280, almost 285. And it's time to take the candy off of the eye. So you're going to turn it off and take it completely off of the eye. Once you take that off of the eye, you are going to add your food coloring. And I like to add just a few drops of white. Like I said, if you aren't going to be making this special color, you can just go ahead and dip this clear. You do not have to add the white if you want your candy to be clear. But if you don't want it to have that translucent candy, you absolutely are going to need the white. So that's my white food coloring, and now I'm going to add some of this blue here. And I use popsicle sticks to get the food coloring out. Just dip it in there, and then we're going to put that right into our candy mixture. And just make everything turn blue. Now we're going to add the flavoring, and normally I just add vanilla, but you can add whatever flavor you want. So if you have some flavoring oil, you can use the pineapple, watermelon, they have pina colada, they got tutti frutti, strawberry, whichever, they have cotton candy too, whatever flavor you would like your grapes to be. I am not going to be using this today, but if you are, I suggest you use just a few drops of this. So you're going to take an eyedropper, a brand new eyedropper, and you're going to put in, or you can even use a medicine dropper, put in about 5 or 6 drops of flavoring oil. But I'm just going to be using the vanilla. Now for the flavoring, I'm just adding a few drops of vanilla, just right on into my pot, and just mix it up. And be careful because the vanilla does make it pop a little, so just watch your hands and just stir that up. Now if you are going to be using vanilla and you want a certain specific color, you are going to have to use clear vanilla extract. Like certain colors you can't use that brown vanilla extract because it will alter the color that you are going for. Candy is all ready to dip, so let's get started with this dipping, y'all. You're going to take your grape on the stick and just drop it in, pull it out, and just let it drip for a couple of seconds. Let that extra candy drip off, and then you want to twirl it a little. That way you will get rid of that extra ring. You got it there. And then you're just going to take your candy mixture. I got my Jolly Ranchers right here, and just drop it in there. Now you can halfway coat it, how some people do it, or you can fully coat it. I like to fully coat mine in as much candy as possible. So we got one grape here. And we're going to keep on going. So again, I'm going to take another grape, and I am going to cover this one with Jolly Ranchers again. Like I said, let that excess candy drip off, and then you're just going to turn it. You'll get it off. Then we're going to take our Jolly Rancher mix here and just dip. And place it on your silicone mat. So we're just going to move right along here. I'm about to just keep it going and move this spatula out the way. And get to dipping. If it falls off of your stick, because every once in a while you will get a grape that falls off the stick, just hurry up and grab it out of there. It's okay. It's no big deal. Just grab it out of there. And I'm just alternating, and then I will real quick do some in the powdered warhead mixture. Like I said, sometimes that's gonna happen, but it's no big deal. Make sure you fully coat your grape all the way to the end of the stick. Get that extra candy off. And then this is going to be the powdered warhead mixture. Just gonna be that there. If for any reason your candy starts to get a little thick on you and starts hardening, just pop it right back onto the stove and let it warm up for about 30 seconds. However long it takes for your oven or your stove to get it back to this runny liquid form. Just be careful and keep an eye on it because you do not want it to start burning if you leave it on too long. So just keep an eye on it. And you might have to rewarm your candy a bunch of times. But there's no problem with that. You can even save this candy and use it a few weeks later. You don't have to use it all in once. You can pour it onto your parchment paper, or you can pour it onto your silicone baking mat and then break it up into pieces once it becomes hard. Put it in a Ziploc baggie and just store it in your cabinet until it's time to when you're ready to use it again. See, like now it's starting to get a little thick, and that's when I'm gonna pop this back onto the stove. You see that thickness? I put it right back onto the eye just for a few seconds. My daughters are gonna eat these grapes for sure by tomorrow afternoon. They'll be all gone. So I'm back. We all warmed up and ready to start dipping again. Comes off the stick, get it right back on there. So that's pretty much it, you guys. If you have any questions, you can always just let me know and I will for sure get back to you guys. So that's it, y'all. And once they are done, you're gonna let them dry for a few minutes and then they should just fall right off the stick. They should pop right off the stick just like that. Look at that. That candy matched my nails. I just noticed that. Yeah, but they'll pop right off the stick. And then you can just put these in a container and put them in the refrigerator until you're ready to eat them. Like I said, they aren't going to last that long, but they should last 24 hours going into 2 days at the most. And these are the grapes. This is how they're going to turn out. And if you guys have any questions, just leave them right in the comment section and I will get back to you. Thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you next time.